We started Extra Smile about probably 9 years ago, I think it is, and it started by helping one particular family. But then we very soon discovered, after we'd built up some relationships with people in the community, that there was just a high level of need behind the closed doors. Families living in, close, or if not in poverty, and completely unable to help themselves with some of the work they needed doing in the house that was beyond that the social housing environment would sort out themselves. So we decided to see how we could step in the gap.
So I met this particular single parent who was trying to raise his son. He was doing a great job on his own, but he was really struggling. He was receiving professional support, but they would only come in maybe six weeks at a time, and he wasn't getting consistent help from the same people. And I remember thinking, wouldn't it be great if he had someone who was really solid and stable, someone that was a bit further ahead in terms of life experience, maybe somebody who could just encourage him and journey life with him, maybe more regularly than the professional support he was receiving.
Job Centre Plus have asked if we would start a job club to help people who are struggling to get back into work, to increase their chances. God definitely put his hand in my back and pushed me. Because I wanted to help, but circumstances happened that I ended up, accepting the post as manager. But that was definitely a God thing.
I think just because Carl and I many years ago experienced a really tight season in our lives, it had a big impact on us, because I never thought I would ever be in that position of not being able to go out to a normal shop and just kit my kids out in uniform head to toe. And so we were really blessed by having family members that were able to contribute for us, and also friends that handed down clothes. And I remember going to the school a particular school office and said, "Oh, do you run a uniform bank?" And they pointed me to a table at their summer fair that was worse than a jumble sale table, and pointed me in the direction to say I could go and get whatever I needed off that table. Now, I never ever experienced, or thought I would ever experience, as a parent, to have to do that in order to dress your child suitable for school. And so I looked at the table from a distance, and I decided, because my own pride, not to go and choose off that table.
We live in Letchworth Garden City. It sounds nice, it sounds wonderful, but actually Letchworth has the highest proportion of social housing in the whole of Hertfordshire, which is always a surprising statistic for everybody. And what that means is, where there's social housing, there's people who are living sometimes in poverty.
In Letchworth, there's a lot of single parents that probably struggle, more so probably with more children, and they have a great need for support. A lot of these families don't have family nearby who can support them, extended family. Maybe people that have come from other countries that English isn't their first language, and actually they're quite isolated and lonely.
In somewhere like here, it can be, some people might easily see it, but other people might see it quite hidden, and might not be too aware of the level of need somewhere like this.
And it's only when you start making the connections that you see behind usually the front of the houses are kept reasonably well. But then if you go beyond that, often you find that actually there's some very difficult environments that people are living in. Our whole social housing scheme is such that you can swap houses with somebody, and it doesn't matter that garden is 10 foot high in weeds. And if somebody's desperate enough to get a house, they'll just sign and say, "I accept that." And they're unable to do anything about that.
My heart was just breaking for their situation, because I had grown up with such a blessed childhood and such great role models in my life. But there's people that have, because of life circumstances, because of poverty, because of not great role models in their life, actually they haven't been given the best start, and they haven't been given the resources and the knowledge to know how to do family well and how to thrive. And so I was incredibly frustrated that there was no way for me to help. And I didn't want to help in a way that would make them dependent on me. I wanted to help in a way that empowered them and encouraged them to be able to be independent and to thrive as a family.
We're often asked to go and help on referral from some of our local schools, GPs, Bernardo's, the children's centres. And one of the things that we do is work with them to actually improve the home conditions. And so it's not simply a case of just going and helping with a garden or painting a room, but actually what we're doing is improving the home environment, the home conditions for the whole family. We've helped a lot of teenagers declutter their rooms, paint them, get some flooring down, and that's really, really changed their world immensely. So,
well, I think it's, if we can help the parent, then they can parent and their children a whole lot better. And then if the children learn what good parenting looks like, how to manage, having a strong parent will generationally influence the children and their children's children.
That if you can get people into work and if you can improve their self-confidence too, I think that will make a big difference.
I was speaking to my sister-in-law in Nottingham, and she'd just started running this Rock and Coach family mentoring programme, and just hearing how the programme worked and how it was impacting families even in a really short period of time, I felt like God had just prodded me. He kind of said to me, hey, do you know how frustrated and passionate you got about that single parent? Would it be great if we had something like Coach to be able to support people like him, and how many families could benefit from just being mentored by just by somebody who was going to love them, encourage them and empower them in their lives.
There's nothing better than on the day when you turn up with the team. The team have a great laugh together, which is always fun. But actually it's seeing the joy in the person's face that you're working in their home. And I mean, just imagine this, it's your home and 10 people turn up on the door to make a difference in your home. It's quite daunting for them. But actually by the end of it, they're smiling and laughing with us, and they just love what we're doing and just can't believe that we would do this. We've had one person who they ended up painting the whole house because we taught them how to paint. And they just had such a fantastic time. We get responses from people just saying, I can't believe the difference it's made to me. And the children are just so excited. They're coming back to a bedroom and it's painted and maybe a new floor on, and sometimes they've got new bedding, and they can't believe it. And it's hard to explain what that feels like, but it's amazing. And you just got to be there to appreciate what that feels like.
Yeah. I can only think of what other parents would be like. It doesn't matter who you are or where you're from as a parent, your heart and your desire is for your children and to have the best for them, whatever that looks like. I just want to be able to help and to support parents so it doesn't feel like that for them. And as a Christian, there is God says just to go and love the world, go and love your neighbour as you would yourself. And we were super blessed by the provision that we had when we were in need, and all I want to do is to be able to not just repay that, but actually God has been so good to us, and I just want to bless and love on our neighbours, and our neighbours right now are the parents and the families that we meet in the school gates.
My heart's desire is to see those families after a year come out of isolation, come out of loneliness.
Sometimes when the problem's big, you can see it as too big and what difference can you make? But actually Jesus didn't say, love everybody and solve everybody's problems, and we never try to do that. What we try to do is love the one that's in front of us and make a difference to them, and in making a difference to them we make a difference to their family. And it makes a difference in us because actually God is using us to affect people's lives.
We need people praying. We definitely need people praying behind all of these community projects that we're doing.
Our God is a God who loves to rebuild and to restore and renew those that are struggling and have been struggling for a while. And I just really believe that us as a community can be really influential. Maybe as a mum yourself or a dad yourself, you might be on the school run and you might be connecting with these families already, and you don't actually need to be a mentor, you just need to be a friend.
What happens in our community if everybody stepped up, if everybody did something? How different would that be? What about all the children's lives that we could affect just by painting a room? Now that's hard to believe, but changing an environment changes people's circumstances. It gives them hope, it gives them a dream, it gives them something to reach for. And we've seen that time and time again. When you just touch people's lives, whether it be with a paintbrush or whether it be with just a loving conversation, people's lives are affected and they're changed, and it can be changed forever with the power of the Holy Spirit.
I think one of the best highlights for me would be working with a young person who was homeless, actually living in a car, and she got flagged up to us through Extra Smile. We ended up helping her on her journey, and she, it's been quite a journey for her, but lots of practical things were done to help her, and she's actually now studying for a degree. She's now got her own tenancy with a housing association, and also she got to know Jesus, and actually leading her to Jesus as well is probably the best thing ever that could happen through doing Extra Smile.